if you're a relatively unknown player and you happen to get your chance in the biggest game of your career, make sure it counts.
10, 5, touchdown, Washington Redskins. Holy cow, say the Broncos. Who is that kid?
The Super Bowl is truly football's grandest stage. And all of the players, understudies included, have a unique opportunity to thrust themselves into the national consciousness. All it takes is one epic play, or a big-time performance. So, without further ado, let's take a look back at 10 NFL players who made their name in the Super Bowl. The obvious place to start here is with one of the more recent and overwhelmingly unlikely Super Bowl heroes, Nick Foles. The former third-round pick actually has one of the most interesting and really bizarre career trajectories. He struggled in limited action during his rookie season, then broke out in what really turned out to be a one-hit wonder sophomore season with 2,891 yards and 27 touchdowns, and bounced around over the next couple of seasons, delivering wildly inconsistent performances for the Rams and Chiefs before ending back in Philadelphia in 2017, where, as it turns out, he had unfinished business. Foles started filling in for Carson Wentz towards the end of the season after the Eagles' star quarterback went down with a torn ACL, and he just sort of kept the team afloat. His performance started to improve as the weeks unfolded, more so into the postseason. But even with each passing week that he and the Eagles emerged victorious as heavy underdogs, still no one gave them a chance in the Super Bowl against Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and the New England Patriots. I mean, after all, it was Nick Foles versus Tom Brady. But, man, did Foles ever deliver. The signal caller went blow for blow with Brady, leading the Eagles to a 41-33 victory on the back of his 373 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns. In the time since, Foles still has yet to find a starting gig that he can keep. But there is no doubt that the man will go down in NFL lore, and all because of that amazing showing on football's biggest stage. Coincidentally, Tom Brady, the man who Foles unseated, also made his name in the Super Bowl. Obviously, he's done a whole hell of a lot more over the years that he can hang his hat on. But who knows? If Brady doesn't deliver in the way he did way back when, stepping in for Drew Bledsoe and leading the Pats to a Super Bowl championship in 2002, maybe Bill hands the offense back over to Drew the next season. People had already started to get a sense for what Brady could do during that 2001-2002 regular season, as Bledsoe was injured early in the year and Brady's stats were strong enough to earn him a Pro Bowl selection. But his 2,843 yards and 18 tutters with 12 interceptions pales in comparison to the heroics he put on display during the Super Bowl. Number 12 bounced back from an injury that caused him to exit the AFC Championship game early to lead his Pats to victory despite being 14-point underdogs. And he led the team on a game-winning drive from their own 17-yard line with no timeout and just 90 seconds left on the clock. It was so improbable that even John Madden, who was calling the game, didn't even think it was worth it for New England to try and drive down the field.
I don't agree with what the Patriots are doing right here. I would play for overtime. If I had good field position, I would.
But, as they say, fortune favors the bold. Guiding the offense 52 yards down the field with Adam Vinatieri drilling a 48-yard to win the game. Brady isn't the only Patriot to make his name in the big game. Take James White, for example. White was barely a factor in the Patriots' offense until his breakout performance during Super Bowl 51. The infamous 28-3 comeback. And that's not hyperbole. During White's first 4 years as a Patriot, he only started 9 games and hadn't touched the ball more than 147 times in a season. But that didn't stop the platoon running back from absolutely dominating as a main feature in the passing game as well as on the ground during the Super Bowl. White exploded, hauling in 14 catches for 110 yards and a touchdown, as well as punching in 2 rushing touchdowns on his 6 carries for 29 yards. Talk about efficiency. Similarly, we saw Malcolm Butler, the former Patriots defensive back, emerge as a known commodity in the NFL after his breakout performance during Super Bowl 49. Although Butler, like White, was eclipsed by Brady in terms of MVP honors, which, hey, let's be honest, almost always goes to the quarterback at this point anyway, there is no denying, though, that he left his mark on that game. In fact, he quite literally saved the game for the Patriots, making a legendary play, intercepting Russell Wilson in the end zone with 26 seconds left to halt a Seahawks offense that looked destined to steal the game back from New England on what many suspected would be the game's final possession. But thanks to Butler implementing a read and react tactic the Patriots had practiced leading up to that game, he was able to jump Seahawks receiver Ricardo Lockette's route and snag the game-winning interception, and effectively end what looked to be an up-and-coming dynasty in Seattle. Now, it isn't just the Patriots who have legends made during the Super Bowls that they play in, though. As I'm sure many of you remember, a little-known receiver by the name of David Tyree also had a life-altering moment in the 2008 Super Bowl, when Tyree, Eli Manning, and the rest of that scrappy underdog New York Giants team defeated one of the greatest regular season football teams ever assembled. So for some of our younger fans, or anyone who may need a refresher, the play in question took place at one of the most pivotal moments in the entire game. With just over a minute remaining in the game and the Giants trailing by 4, Manning miraculously escaped the grasps of multiple Patriots defenders, then launched the ball downfield. Tyree, who had caught less than 60 passes up to that point in his career and had largely been used in the blocking game, made a ridiculous catch, pinning the ball against his helmet. He also had the good fortune to have landed on top of a Patriots defender, which kept the ball from caroming off the ground and potentially voiding the miracle catch. Now, this didn't exactly propel Tyree to a Canton-worthy career. In fact, he never even recorded another catch in the NFL. But it certainly was impactful enough to ruin what would have been the first undefeated season since 1972, and have David Tyree's name live on long after his playing days are up, especially in the heads of Patriots fans who will never forgive him. And as far as Tyree is concerned, he may not be a Hall of Famer, but he'll definitely be featured in it. And I'm sure he has enough endorsement dollars stemming from that one epic moment to carry him through his young retirement. Tyree isn't the only Giant to make his name against the Patriots in the Super Bowl. In fact, a young wide receiver by the name of Mario Manningham did it when the Giants again upset the Patriots just 4 years later, as he made a ridiculous catch down the sideline to cap off a 5-reception, 73-yard performance that was pivotal to the Giants pulling off the upset. It doesn't get much more impressive than that.
This is still a Cruz and Knicks game. Those are still the guys. Make them go to Manningham. You caught it.
Honestly, I think all things considered, it might have been an even better catch than the one that Tyree pulled off a few years prior. Manningham, like Tyree, didn't go on to stardom, as he played just 2 more seasons in the NFL with the San Francisco 49ers. But there is no denying that his name will also echo around the heads of Patriots, Giants, and NFL fans really, for many years to come. We have actually seen quite a few wide receivers over the years have shocking Super Bowl performances. Guys like Antoine Randall and Santonio Holmes, who delivered epic performances that cemented their legacies in the league. Let's start with Randall L., since he is quite a few years Holmes' senior. Prior to the 2005 Super Bowl, Randall L. was a modest contributor to the Steelers' offense. He was generally targeted around 60 to 70 times a season, taking a backseat to the likes of Hines Ward. So, what was so amazing about Randall L.'s performance that thrust him into the national consciousness? Oh, I don't know, maybe the fact he completed a 43-yard bomb for the Steelers' only passing touchdown on a sick trick play. Never mind what it says about Big Ben's outing, but Randall L. literally amassed over 33% of Ben's total yards on that one throw. Santonio Holmes, on the other hand, well, he actually used his receiving skills to make his name during Super Bowl 43, when he made one of the most absurd clutch receptions that the big game has ever seen. It really doesn't get much better than that. Obviously, Roethlisberger deserves some credit for threading the needle and finding him in the back of the end zone. But man, was the degree of difficulty cranked all the way up. I mean, after all, he did claim MVP honors as a non-quarterback, which is damn near impossible these days. Unlike Randall L., Holmes put together a much more complete performance, snagging 9 receptions for 131 yards and a touchdown. He literally accounted for over half of Ben's passing yards. Last but not least, let's touch on 2 old-timers, one running back and one defensive back. Timmy Smith is one of the crazier examples that we have on this list. He was a 5th-round pick out of Texas Tech who started just 9 games in his fragmented 3-year career. But that didn't stop him from putting forth a performance for the ages in Super Bowl 22. In his first career start, Washington rode Smith for 204 yards and 2 touchdowns on just 22 carries en route to a decimation of the Denver Broncos, winning by a final score of 42-10 despite entering the second quarter down 10-0. There is nothing like a relatively unknown quantity literally rewriting the Super Bowl record books. Unfortunately for Smith, he apparently was one to rest on his laurels. In the following offseason, he put on over 25 pounds while his agent simultaneously asked Washington to make him the highest paid running back in the league. Well, at least he has that epic performance to hang on to. Larry Brown is the second old school guy we have to close out this list with. Unlike Smith, he had a semi-lengthy NFL career spanning from 1991 to 1998. But it was what he did as a member of the Cowboys Super Bowl 27 winning team that established him as a real baller in the league. Brown became the first cornerback to be named Super Bowl MVP after snagging 2 interceptions in the second half, both of which were converted into touchdowns, helping to prevent what looked like a surefire Steelers comeback. And Brown had officially made a name for himself at the Super Bowl. But are there any other NFL players who made a name for themselves during the big game? Join us in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.